So I just watched Jonathan Glazer's new film, The Zone of Interest, and oh boy howdy, that was an experience to say the least. If you don't know what The Zone of Interest is, it is a film set during World War II that follows a German Nazi family that lives next to a concentration camp. It is heavy material to deal with. And what's really surprising is the entire runtime of the film, you don't really see the abhorrent horror of Auschwitz in your face, because the entire time you spend next door with this family. It is one of the most brutal films I think I've seen in a long time in a weird way. It really got to me. First off, I do want to say, if you go see this, there is like a long black screen at the beginning of the film that made me and my wife go, is our projector broken right now? Like, I thought it was supposed to be for a while, but then it kept going, and I was like, maybe not. But yeah, anyway. This is a film that I can't recommend enough try to see in a theater or with a good sound system, because 98% of the movie is in the sound design. Like, if this film doesn't win the sound Oscar, that is an absurd choice, because the sound design in this movie is some of the best I've ever heard in my life. The entire film, the context of the entire film is in the sound. I've never felt this before, but basically you're next door to Auschwitz, right? You just hear the camp. You hear what the everyday going-ons at the camp is. It got to a point in the film where I was like fed up. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, I was like, I need a break from this sound design, because I have had enough. Like, I can't stand this anymore. In a good way. Like, it got to me. It really got under my skin at that point of the film. And you kind of get a little bit of a break from it, thankfully. But yeah, I was just like, at that point, I was just like, oh my God, there's so many scenes in this film that I literally was just like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, it really makes you think. And you know, it toes a line when you make a movie that your main characters are going to be in essentially the bad guys of the film, right? It would be really difficult to toe the line not to be sympathetic, like a sympathizer, I mean. And the film does a great job at humanizing these people without sympathizing to these people, and instead shows you a just stark, realistic look of this life. And in doing so, it weirdly enough kind of honors the victims of the Holocaust. I don't want to spoil anything, but that ending, the ending of this film, was incredibly moving to me. Very powerful ending. And I think if you've seen the film, you probably know what I'm talking about. And it was like one of those ones where the credits started rolling and you just kind of sit there. You know what I mean? You just kind of sit there just like, oh, you know, it's like just one of those super heavy dense movies. The cinematography is absolutely brilliant. Lukas Zale, I hope I'm saying the name right, was the cinematographer. He also did the cinematography of Ida and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Ida being some of my favorite cinematography I've ever seen in a movie. I'm Thinking of Ending Things also has great cinematography. The cinematography in this film is really great, but it's not the focal point of the movie. It's just a great looking movie. You know what I mean? There's these cool shots they do at night where they go like infrared that when I first saw it really kind of threw me off, but was also really interesting. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe on a second viewing I would get more context to like why that was the creative decision. If you keep hearing a noise, my dog keeps dropping his toy to try to get my attention, and like I'm petting him during this entire review, but that's not enough apparently. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure like the super context of like why they decided to go for those like night vision scenes. I don't, because I don't want to talk about these scenes and spoil them. Like, I could kind of see a context that interpretation might get undermined by another scene, so I don't know. I guess what I was trying to say was, you know, because it's infrared, it's like the light in the dark or something like that, you know what I mean? That could be like a visual. Maybe I'm buying too much into it, I don't know, but I will say that it was visually interesting. I would like to see it again to try to like pick apart why, or at least hear why they decided to go that route with the infrared. I am curious. There are scenes in this film that really stick out to me. One, not to spoil anything, but there's a mother character, a grandmother character, if you will, that is kind of brought in as like an epoxy, or not epoxy, like a proxy as the audience. There's a certain scene with her in the middle of the night that I thought was like insanely powerful, that I literally remember thinking like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like the weight of this movie is like bearing down on you. But that's not to say that there isn't a lot of great things in here. Like, for one, the performances are great from the entire board. It's not really a performance-driven movie necessarily, but there's definitely good performances here. It's a film that makes you look at different aspects of this point of history that I don't think we've really had much of an opportunity to look at. Each character is kind of in a way, like a representation of like different factors or different people of this era. It's great. I mean, it's really great. And like I said, you see these scenes. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just gets me. The scene with I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil very much. I just found this movie to be incredibly powerful, impactful. I can't stop thinking about this movie. The score is great. It's very minimalistic, but it's also just haunting, and oh my god, I can't get over that sound design. It's seriously some of the best sound design I've ever heard in a film. Like, it is the movie. It carries the context of the movie. It carries the weight of the movie. It carries the horror and the emotion of the movie so well in just the sound design. It's so interesting to hear that with the juxtaposition of the family, because it's like, you know, it also kind of like represents like Germans during this time. Like, people would live their normal lives, and you know, their country's doing this horrible thing, right? So like, it's a nice just perspective on this type of story that we haven't really seen before, and it's great. It's a great film. It's one of my favorites from 2023. I really can't wait to watch it again. It's my favorite Jonathan Glazer, which I think Sexy Beast is the only movie of his I haven't seen yet, but I would say Zone of Interest is my favorite so far. I can't wait to watch this again. I will day one Blu-ray buy this. I hope it has some good special features, because I would love to hear like some commentary behind the scenes or something like that. If you get a chance to see this in theaters, I definitely would recommend it just because of the surround sound. If you have a good surround sound system at home, you're solid, but I definitely would highly recommend this film. I loved it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I think I'm okay with a 9. I think this movie is insanely good. Definitely go check it out. If you also want to watch some free movies, both of my feature films, Shadow and Life, and my newest new folder is available here on YouTube. You can check those out if you want to. You can become a member of Patreon. Those are great ways to support the channel as well. It's only $1 a month for either or. You get access to early videos. You get access to early videos. You get early access to videos, and your name at the end that you'll see here in a second. You can follow my gaming channel down below as well, and you can follow me on Twitch anytime I go live. And yeah, definitely check out the Zone of Interest, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.